Moving on now to our final 2021 season prediction for the NFC, going with the NFC West.
Mhm.
I'm very curious to see your thoughts on this one because this division is going to be fun to watch.
Wait, can I guess?
I have three teams make the playoffs, and
I was gonna say the Seahawks,
that
but
I don't have make the playoffs, and that is the Seattle Seahawks.
yeah.
Oh, was that what?
I actually,
Well,
I was gonna say I have them at 5 and 12, and they're out of the playoffs for me as well.
Yeah. But I have them go. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I have them at 6 and 11. Oh, sorry, one second. Yeah, I have them at 6 and 11, winning only one division game. And I'm just looking at their schedule. I think they're going to lose to the Colts week 1. I have them lose to Tennessee. They could beat Minnesota.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're going to beat the Rams.
3. I have them lose to San Francisco. I somehow have them beating the Rams. I don't know how. I don't think they're going to beat the Rams.
And that's exactly how I have it.
There's a legitimate possibility that their first win isn't until week 6 against Pittsburgh. But it's just, yeah. They could beat Minnesota, which would be one that I have that I would have incorrectly here because I have Minnesota winning that just off initial thoughts. But I
only having 3 picks. Yeah.
Well, and they kind of screwed themselves with their draft this year by not really having that. Yeah, they didn't really add any offensive line help. They have all these great offensive weapons.
Tyler Lockett,
Wilson, and DK Metcalf, and the I'm blanking on his name. Yeah, Tyler Lockett. Yeah, that's offensive weapons wise. That's a pretty solid core of guys. But I mean, as we saw in that playoff game, Russell Wilson is running for his life, and I don't know how they're going to be able to maintain that over a whole season. And I don't think that they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to need to address that offensive line. But defense isn't horrible. The Legion of Boom is gone for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still not bad. It's not what it was.
Yeah.
Though. You remember that Seattle team from old where they're going to come at you hard defensively, and they're
just like
points.
Average. They're not as stunning as they were.
They're not.
And so that for me, I think, is kind of why they're falling off.
They're not as.
I think they got away from what they really did well and what got them to the Super Bowl 2 years in a row was power run game. And then Russell Wilson can throw really well, but that's like it was a very well balanced offense. They had a good offensive line, and then they played hard nosed defense. They were one of the more penalized teams in the league, but that was just because they played so physical. That they just got fouls called on them sometimes. But for me, I think that they kind of lost their way. I too like Seattle, and I like Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I hope they can get him some protection and they can kind of return to being competitive. But I just don't see them being that good this year. I think Russell Wilson is going to have a down year. I think this will be the first year that he probably won't be a top 10 quarterback in fantasy. Just because he got destroyed last year. And so another team for me that you said you have them making the playoffs, but another team for me that I feel like kind of falls in the similar boat is the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals are very stout in the trenches on either side of the football. I think they're going to struggle with that. They're going to have Kyler Murray running for his life again. So I actually have them at 6 and 11.
Okay.
And I also think that they're gonna lose 4 games already to the Rams and the 49ers.
Interesting.
Right, and then really?
So I don't know about that.
No, they didn't.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think the Cardinals, they didn't make the playoffs last year, or did they? No, they didn't. But they had their moments. Like they were at one point in the playoff picture, and they did kind of fall off a little bit towards the end of the year.
Oh, really?
I actually have them.
Wow, so we have very different.
I actually have them winning the division, going 13-4. Yeah, so we have very different draft, and that's what I'm saying. This is what's exciting about the NFC West. But the Cardinals, I think
Drake is the main one.
When you have Kyler Murray, and then who's their running back?
Apparently, he's on the fence about coming back.
DeAndre Hopkins. Now you have AJ Green. You got Rondell Moore, and is Larry Fitzgerald still there? I don't think I've.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he does come back, I mean that's a top receiving core right there. Their defense can improve a little bit, but also it's not horrible. It's not miserable, so to say. But they're just a very dynamic team. I think that can beat you in different ways. And with some of the other teams, I think there's going to be some unknowns, which is why I gave the edge to Arizona. We don't know how San Francisco is going to come back. If Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt, then you're going to have the rookie Trey Lance come in. Injuries going to play a factor. The Rams are the ones where, looking back on it now, where that could change. I could see some of these games changing because with Matt Stafford and some of the additions that they had on offense, I could see the Rams exploding and having a great season. So I actually had the Rams going third in the division, but going 11-6 and making the playoffs. Then I had San Francisco at 12-5 and then Arizona 13-4. So a lot of these games, they are all right.
For me, I have the 49ers.
I think
the
those
number 2
three
seed in
teams
the NFC,
will be fighting for
and they win the division at 13-4.
Title.
Right now, I think they're the most talented team of the 4 teams.
Okay.
I think they have the best defense, and I think they have the best offense. And if Trey Lance isn't ready, they can just play Jimmy G, who, by the way, the last time he started every game in a regular season, took his team to the Super Bowl. So, for me, I have them going 13-4, and I also have the Rams going 13-4. They're my 5 seed as the first wild card team, but they go 4-2 in the division. I think they lose. Yeah, they lose to the 49ers twice, I think. The one is a Week 18 game, and I think that'll be for the division. Every year, they both... Every year they have one of these games. I think 2 years ago it was San Francisco and Seattle. Last year it was LA and Seattle. But these 2 teams I think are going to duke it out. And I think both these games are going to be a coin flip. So, but I do have the 49ers edging them in that regard. But
oh, yeah. Well...
Yeah.
Now it'll be very interesting to see from this, especially this division, what we have on our final record standing and how these 3 teams rotate. I feel like we're going to be pretty uniform. I think with Seattle. I think Seattle is going to be the worst in that division. They just didn't really do much in this past off season. They didn't really add much. And I don't know. I also, with them winning the division last year,
definitely. And this is another division I think is really competitive. It's kind of up there with the AFC East and the NFC South, where they just are loaded with talent. I think the Cardinals do on my board. I have the Cardinals kind of getting the short end of the stick and just kind of not being as good as some of the other teams in the division. But I could be wrong. I would love to see DeAndre Hopkins, who left Houston for a bag of nickels, go and do really well. I'm a big fan of DeAndre Hopkins, but I think they end up getting the short end of the stick. And I also am really convinced that San Francisco is going to get healthy. So, yeah.
Well, and so that's the X factor in all this. I mean, a year ago we'd be saying the exact same thing, but then San Francisco got hit with the injury bug and literally the COVID bug.